Hello, and welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from LaGrange Fire Department. We have a great show lined up today. Our special guest will be coming from the Fire Marshal's office and the Troup County Health Department. So sit back and relax, because you're about to watch Smoke Signals. Welcome back. Today we have on the show one of our very special guests, John Thomas, Fire Marshal, LaGrange Fire Department. Hello, John, and welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and especially with your background as being the Fire Marshal for the City of LaGrange. And I'm quite sure that you have a busy schedule on your plate, but it's always a pleasure to have you to come in and kind of share with the community some things they need to know. That's pretty much what's going on in the community, and you know, any new updates as it relates to the State Fire Marshal's office. Before we get into our topics, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with the department.
I've been with the department right at 20 years, and I was on trucks for 9 and in prevention.
Okay.
The rest of it.
All right, sounds good. Well, do you miss being on the truck?
No.
No.
I let the young guys do it.
I heard that. You know, once that age starts creeping up on you, it's like, hey, there's just certain things I'm just not into doing
I see
anymore.
the trucks and I said, man, I used to be able to do all that.
Right. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. A lot of things that we want to discuss today. And one in particular, let's talk about any new state regulations or codes that the general public need to be aware of.
The biggest one that everybody is probably already aware of is going to be the fireworks.
Okay.
They are legal in Georgia now. There's still a lot of stipulations, you know, to have a fireworks store.
Right.
As far as the purchasing of them, you know, you got curfews, where you can do it, how far from a building you can set them off.
Mm-hmm.
And but as far as a store, there's still a good bit of regulations on the building itself.
And that's kind of self-explanatory, because when you have something new such as fireworks, you know, that's going to be a process of, you know, being able to, you know, kind of weed out what you can and cannot do over time. And then, of course, you know, summer months, you know, the humidity is very high, so that can be a touchy issue also. Right.
It's specified in the code of how far apart they can be stacked, how many you can have on site. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the biggest thing that if someone is interested in opening up a store is go through zoning first.
Okay, that sounds good. And of course, we only have a couple of fireworks seasons left, holiday seasons left. So just want to make sure that the audience is up to date on what to do as it relates to fireworks. But the safest thing to do is, instead of getting out there and trying to do all that stuff yourself as far as using fireworks, go to a public show.
Yes,
that's the safest thing.
Safest place.
All right. Are there any other state regulations or codes that you need to be aware of?
It's not really a new regulation, but it's something that needs to get out there as far as daycares and personal care homes need to have the
caregiver fire safety program.
Yes, all the employees need to have that certification or refresher class. Mm-hmm. They can call the insurance commissioner, get the number. We have a local gentleman that will provide a class to where they can get those certifications in.
Okay, and that's good to know, because there's probably, you know, quite a few businesses out there that may not be aware of it. And you know, as it relates to doing inspections and things of that nature, you know, it's always good to, you know, let them know that, you know, these are the things that are required. So
right.
Go through the proper channels and making sure they get those certifications.
Right, and it not being as public over the last years. We do give them a little time to go ahead and get their class, to where we're not just saying, okay, if you don't have it today, you're
right. Exactly. I mean, there's a little leeway. I mean, you want to give them a little time to find out who's teaching the class, where the class is being taught, and then scheduling it for their staff.
And then they'll know every year from here on,
right,
the process.
Exactly. Okay, sounds good. Now let's talk about new businesses. What is the process for someone who wants to open a new business in the city?
All right, I'll go back to a suggestion to make it easier on everybody is I would call City Hall, ask for zoning, because different businesses have to be in certain zones.
Okay.
I'd hate for someone to do a lot of planning, maybe spend some money before they find a building, and then they find a site and then it not be the right location.
Okay.
So that'd be the first thing I would do. And then they call me, and then I'll come out, look at the building. If they have anything they need to do extra, I will advise them of that.
Okay.
They'll call me back. I will then do a final inspection, send it to City Hall, and then they get their business license.
Okay. So you basically would suggest someone, once they go through the licensing process, is just to go ahead and contact the fire marshal's office before they do anything to the building or anything of that nature. That way you can kind of give them a heads up on, this is what you need to do, this is what you don't need to do, because a lot of people, they need to understand that the fire marshal's office is there to help them and not cause them any problems down the road.
Right. And I just don't like seeing people spend money that they don't have to.
Right.
Or spend money and they can't open up the store.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about inspections. When you conduct inspections, are there any fees associated when conducting inspections?
There's no fees for our annual inspections, re-inspections. We usually get, even if someone has a violation, we give them a certain amount of time. We come back. Usually after the second one, we never have to go back.
Right.
But there's no fee for that, because we just want to protect the business owner, the building, the customers in the building, and the firefighters.
Okay.
So there's no charge for that.
Okay, and that's good. And I think that's something that, you know, everyone who owns a business and have a business license in the city, you know, they ought to appreciate that you know, you're giving them opportunity to fix the problems, and a lot of times those problems are probably just minor. And I'm quite sure, because I've done inspections before where you go in a place and whatever the violation is, it just happened maybe a few days ago and they didn't even recognize it.
Right, but I've been in prevention now going on 10 years, and I get mostly positive feedback from all business owners.
That's good.
Hardly any negativity, you know, because they appreciate it now. They've seen us now every year, so that, you know, they know we're coming. We'll get people call and say, hey, I'm ready for you. Well, I'm not supposed to be there till next month, you know, but
the repetition.
Right.
They've gotten used to the repetition and the process and the familiar faces.
Right.
All right, so now we're still talking about businesses. What is the requirement for the number of people in a business? And I'm quite sure there are different requirements, but what is the requirement?
Yeah, each business has got a formula of what you use per the square footage, how many doors, exit doors they have, whether it's sprinkled, whether it's not sprinkled, travel distance to an exit. So you got to, in each business, you've got to adjust for all those, and then of course use the formula, and that will determine the amount of safe people that can be in there.
Now, since we're talking about the number of required occupants in a business, it's even more important that the occupant make sure that they follow the maximum allowed inside of occupancy inside of the business, because if you're running a situation where you overcrowd and an incident occurs, then it makes it even more difficult to get those people out of that
right.
area.
It makes it more difficult, and plus also a liability issue. Those occupancies are set for a reason. The reason that formula has been created was something, let's for instance, if there was a building that was allowed 100 people in there, that was max. They had 101 in there, and something happened. most likely that one person's going to get hurt, because at one time or another, that's how they created that number.
Okay, and it doesn't matter if it's a business, if it's a public facility, or whatever it is. The occupancy load, the property owner, management, or whoever needs to stay on top of that and keep an accountability system in place so that they don't go over the maximum amount of occupancy.
You're right.
Okay. All right. Now, I kind of allude to it. Let's talk about evacuations. All right. How important is evacuations for a business or any kind of public facility?
It is very, very important. For one, for the individuals that are inside the building. They're not used to an emergencies situations. So if you see smoke or hear a fire alarm, the best thing to do is quietly leave the building, the proper exits, because there could be a fire in the wall and them not know about it.
Right.
It could run up to the ceiling and run above the ceiling. Even though they're not seeing smoke, there could be hazards above them. Mm-hmm. So if you hear a fire alarm or if you see smoke, you need to evacuate the building. It's going to make it a whole lot easier on the fire department to do their job if they don't have a crowd of people inside a structure. Then don't go back in the structure once you leave until you have an officer from the fire department advise you it's safe to enter.
Okay, and because that's an important thing too, because the safety of those individuals in the area is the responsibility of the fire department. And now, if someone hears an alarm, they see smoke, is it the responsibility of management? And I know some people, the occupants, are going to self-evacuate without having been told to do so.
Right.
But in a general scenario, would it be management responsibility to make sure
Yes.
that people are out of the building?
Yes, management, and I try to, and my inspectors try to go over this, especially in public assemblies, restaurants, nightclubs, theaters. Part of our inspections is advise them of an evacuation. Do you practice it so that they are aware of it?
Okay, all right, sounds good. Any new construction going on in LaGrange at this time?
There's a lot of new construction in LaGrange right now. LaGrange is growing. I love that it's growing. It makes my job busier, but it just shows progress. LaGrange College is really growing. Mm-hmm. They got a new nursing facility, a new music facility, new fraternity houses, a new science building's going up right now, remodeling the old science building.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then we have 2 hotels that are going to be coming in the near future.
Okay.
2 doctors' offices have opened up this year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's a lot of new construction going on.
That's good. So, you know, if you and all need to take heed of the clearing of land that's going on around us, and
LaGrange is growing.
Buildings going up and influx of more people, you know, and traffic issues. So, you know, all those things just plays a part in, you know, a growing community, and it's good to see that that we are growing, and we got, you know, a lot of great things seems to be, you know, coming into place. So, all right, well, we appreciate you sharing the insights on things that are going on in the city.
No problem.
And with the Fire Marshal's office. And at this time, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on Smoke Signals. Welcome back. Today we have our second guest on our show, Ms. Tashari McFarland, who is the public health educator for the Troup County
Health Department.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you was able to fill in for me. It's great to have you on the show. Welcome on the show once again.
Well, thank you for inviting me back. I always love coming here.
Oh yeah, because you always have some great information that we need to be aware of from the public health department.
Yes.
So, but before we get into some of the topics that we have discussed today, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long have you been in the public health environment?
Okay. Well, my name is Tashara McFarland. I am the public health educator with Troup County Health Department. This is my second year here in Troup County. Before that, I was in Birmingham, Alabama. Okay. So I'm a health educator there, and I also do the Team Maze program, which I coordinate every year for all of Troup County ninth graders.
Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Team Maze here later for those who are not familiar or have never participated. Right. We're here in the midst of summer season. Fall is not far away from us. So let's talk about some public health concerns that our general public need to be aware of. Anything in particular that you want to discuss that
well, I mean, Chris, thank you again for inviting me, but there are several things going on in public health that we want the public to be aware of. Several hot topics from Zika to new recommendations for the flu vaccine for this upcoming flu season. Our public needs to be aware of these things because, of course, they've been hot topics in the news, and so we just want our residents here to know what's going on. Okay,
and as it relates to Zika, because like you said, you can't turn on the news today, any day, and not hear something about the Zika outbreak.
Right.
And of course, you know, we have cases in the state of Georgia, even though I think they've identified that, you know, most of these incidents are occurring outside of the country.
Right.
So, but what is Zika virus and what do we know about Zika here in Georgia?
Well, the Zika virus is a virus that, of course, that is spread from the Aedes species of mosquitoes. And these mosquitoes are typically found in tropical areas. And South America is, you know, of course, is having a big outbreak of that because, you know, it's a very tropical area down there.
Right.
And the Zika virus is primarily spread from someone who has been bitten by a mosquito that actually carries the virus. And we also found that it can be be passed to someone through sexual contact, and also mother can pass it to child during while the child is still the fetus inside her, and that is a huge concern for South America and for people here in America because it can pass on a serious disease called microcephaly that can cause serious developmental problems with a baby that's born. Wow. So that's why we just want the public to be aware of what the Zika virus is. Now, in the United States, there have not been any locally born cases. And what that means is none of our mosquitoes actually here in the United States have been tested positive for the Zika virus. All of our cases here in the United States have actually been linked to people traveling outside of the United States and somehow, you know, transferring the virus to someone else or bringing the virus back here. Okay. But that's something that we do want the public to be aware of because when, you know, the outbreak first started, everyone was so scared that, you know, if you go outside and get bit by a mosquito, oh my God, I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
Right,
but
exactly.
Like I said, there haven't been any local-born cases here in the United States. In the state of Georgia, there have actually been 26 cases. And again, these cases have been linked to people traveling outside of the United States and coming back. So, but the major concern in the news right now is passing from mother to child because, I mean, the size of the child's brain is smaller and it causes serious developmental problems. And so that's something that, you know, people are very concerned about right now. And of course, with the Olympics going on, you know, about to get started, you know, it's a huge concern. And some people actually backed out of going down there to Brazil because of these concerns. But we just want to let everyone know here that there have been no locally born cases of mosquito transferring Zika here in Georgia. And we just want to make sure that is clear.
That's good to know because if any of our viewing audience is like me, whenever I'm out and I see a mosquito, you know, whether it's small or big and it looks like it's got stuff hanging from it. It's like, is that one of them Zika mosquitoes? So, you know, it makes you cautious.
Right.
But, you know, the thing is you can't run from mosquitoes because mosquitoes are going to pop up.
And especially having kids, you know, kids are outside during these summer months. I mean, you know, I have, children, so you get concerned about them being outside. But, you know, that's just one thing that we want, just to make sure that all of our cases have been linked to people traveling outside of the United States. So.
Okay.
Just want to make that known.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. If you're traveling out of state, you know, just be mindful of your environment, especially where mosquitoes are concerned.
Especially to countries that, you know, like in South America that have been impacted by the Zika virus. You just want to make sure that you take precautions when you travel to those countries as well.
And do your homework. Actually find out, you know, what countries have had, you know, known cases of Zika viruses in that area, and you might want to change your travel plans a little bit. Right,
and this information is abundant on the internet, so I mean you can easily find the countries that are impacted, especially on the CDC's website. It's easy to find the countries and even the states here in the United States that have been impacted by the Zika virus. So. Okay,
sounds good. Now there is a campaign that's going on that I'd like for you to talk about, and it's the tip and toss.
Yes.
Kind of talk about that a little bit.
The Georgia Department of Public Health has initiated the tip and toss campaign for the summer months, because we know that mosquitoes breed in areas of standing water. And of course, this can be anything outside. It can be children's toys outside, bird baths, or even clogged up drain systems on your house. And so the tip and toss campaign just encourages people to eliminate standing water. And we just recently had some rain, thank God, you know. And so just make sure that anything outside, you just tip it over, get rid of the water out of it, because, you know, that way you can eliminate mosquitoes breeding. And it's not just for Zika virus, because like I said, it's not a huge thing going on here in Georgia. But I mean, you can eliminate mosquitoes just biting your children outside, and any kind of illness that comes from mosquitoes. So our tip and toss campaign is something that, you know, is simple, but it can help reduce the population of mosquitoes.
Okay, that sounds good. You know, so tip and toss, folks. Get rid of that standing water around your home, and you know, in places where mosquitoes can migrate, because you know, you look up sometime and you're like, how did I get this mark? Where did this mark come from? You know, and I haven't been outside, but you know, hey, mosquito. And I found it seemed like mosquitoes just hang out around doors. And as soon as you open the door, bam, mosquito comes in, and you don't even realize it's in your house.
Exactly, and we get the huge ones in my house for some reason. But I mean, you know, we just had 4th of July pass, and you know, that's a huge time for people to be outside. But we still have Labor Day holidays, and still, you know, school's not in yet, so kids are outside. Right. So just making sure that you eliminate that water, try to reduce the population of mosquitoes. That's a good thing.
Exactly. Flu season. We get into the flu season. I mean, we can't go through the summer without talking about preparing for the flu season. What do we need to know this year about flu season?
Well, flu season is approaching. It comes in the fall, and it usually lasts throughout until May. And what we need to know is that there have been new recommendations for the flu vaccine this year. The flu mist, which has been very popular among children, is just a nasal spray that you spray in children's noses, and it protects you against the flu virus. But this method of flu vaccine is not recommended this year, and that's something huge, because you know, at first they were saying the flu mist was as effective as getting the actual flu shot. But now they're saying that between 2013 and 2015, they have found that it was not as effective. And so we at the health department will not be offering flu mist this year because of the recommendations by the panel at the CDC. And this is something that people need to be aware of, because, you know, I mean, it's very popular among children, because, I mean, I have a 5-year-old, and it's hard to say, hey, come get a shot, but it's a lot easier to say, hey, come, let me spray this up your nose. But now they're not recommending that this year, and we just want everyone to be aware that, you know, since it's not recommended, we won't be offering it this year. Okay,
all right. Now, flu shots, kind of talk a little bit about that.
All right. Flu shots are recommended for anyone 6 months and up. And especially for pregnant women and our senior population. And we will still be offering the injectable flu shot this year. So just check with our website and our Facebook page to see when they're offered, because we typically get them in the fall season. We don't have a particular date right now, but when it becomes available, we'll let the public know. So, but we still will be offering the injectable shot. So just want to make sure everyone knows that.
All right, and if you just kind of put a plug in on how our viewing audience can contact the health department for, you know, whatever health issues they might have, or how to get to your website.
All right. Well, first, for any information Zika related or anything, please visit the CDC website and visit the Georgia Department of Public Health website. For us, anything services that we offer, from vital records to family planning, any of those things, please contact us at 706-845-4085. And you can also visit our website at troopcohealth.org. And you can find a lot of information there and fill out forms and have, you know, come in and have everything already ready.
Okay, sounds good. Now, anything else that you would like to add from the public health side?
Yes, I do want to add that, again, there's abundant information out there. So there's, you know, you can stay informed about all these things that are going on, Zika to the flu vaccination, anything. And also, I wanted to add a plug in for Teen Maze that is coming up this year again in the fall.
Okay.
Teen Maze this year will be October 26th and October 27th. And we are, of course, are always looking for volunteers. So we will begin accepting volunteer applications on August 15th.
Okay.
And so you can contact me at the same number, 706-845-4085, to get more information about Teen Maze. So just want to make sure that everyone knows that this event is huge for our Troup County teens.
It very is.
And last year we had nearly 800 students. We had 250 volunteers, and we always need more because, you know, we need more people to help with our kids. So.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. If you could just kind of tell us real quick what Teen Maze is.
All right. Well, Teen Maze is a life-size maze of sorts where our teens get to actually experience real consequences to real situations that they may face in you know, throughout their high school careers. And this is from drinking and driving, peer pressure for sexual activity. And we have the involvement of many of you all in our community that come out and help show our teens that there are, you know, real consequences to things like drinking and driving and engaging in other risk behaviors. So teens get to come in 2 days where we're going to be located again at the Callaway Conference Center this year.
Okay.
And they get to get scripts, and some, you know, some graduate, some might have to visit our funeral home, but our goal is to help our teens think before they engage in risky behaviors.
Okay.
And for all of our teens to graduate. So that's our goal.
Oh, sounds good. Well, we appreciate you coming out and sharing some wealth of information from the Troup County Health Department. And at this time, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on Smoke Signals. Welcome back. We'd like to take this time to say thanks once again to our special guest for being on the show from the LaGrange Fire Marshal's Office, as well as the Troup County Health Department. So want you to make sure that you take heed to those tips and information that was given from both agencies on today. And we also want to thank you for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.